I contracted a deadly MRSA staph infection in the lowest part of my spine. I had final rites twice. I was hospitalized in and out of the hospital for 6 months and had to have 6 surgeries to get better. And when I finally got better, I knew there had to be a better way to kill germs than the antibiotics, which ruined my hair, my skin, my nails.
As medical professionals, we spend most of our time dealing with our patients. Some of us want to step away from clinical medicine and expand into business ventures, but we can't find time to do it or know which type of medical venture we want to expand into. What if we can fuse our knowledge from our clinical practice into a business venture? What if we can leverage new techniques in our field by turning them into profit? Marcia Reece shares with us today on how she developed this traditional antimicrobial solution and turned it into a business venture in the modern world. This is the podcast where ambitious and busy healthcare leaders come to build peak performance. If your plate is always full, this show will help you to gain a day every week and increase revenue at least $10,000 per month. I'm your host, Sabrina Rumbach, a cardiothoracic surgery PA and expert in neuroscience, psychology, and public health. 5 years ago, I was in your shoes, working 80 plus hours per week, putting out fires every day, and my to-do list never ended. If that's the way you're working now, you know this is not sustainable. I'm here to tell you there is a better way. I knew I had to get my life back, so I dived deep into the researches of mental fitness and productivity. After implementing the right strategies, I cut my clinical hours by 30% and increased my profit by 50%. This podcast contains stories of how I did it and how other healthcare experts are doing it too. Together, we will share with you how to get your life back. Welcome to the Powerful and Passionate Healthcare Professionals Podcast.
Hi everyone, I'm your host, Sabrina Rumbach, and today we have another exciting guest. Think about nowadays, our COVID, we thought it's going away, but then you have the Delta variant coming back, hospitals start to filling up again, we're not allowed to do elective cases again. So how are you protecting yourself? Now, this is the reason we have Marcia here. She is someone who's super experienced in being a product marketing expert. She developed multiple successful business out there, and she is a 3-time #1 bestseller for being a book author, and she's the CEO of Stay Well Copper. And she's here to discuss with all of you the microbial properties of using copper to kill off germs. And how do you also build up a profitable business from a healthcare perspective? And so I'm so excited for Marcia being here to share her secrets of long stream of business successes and talk all about her way of her growth and being really optimizing in both her physical health, mental health, and business wellness altogether. And did you know that her product can kill 99.97% of germs naturally? And can't wait to get started today. Hello.
Hi, Sabrina. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining me. Me and Marcia just connected through our mastermind where we were learning about how to best present ourselves in the media, in the world, right? And we don't want it to be the best kept secret when you have so much impact, amazingness to do. So tell us more about yourself.
Well, as you said, I've had a full career of inventing products. Back in the 1970s, I invented sidewalk chalk. You probably all have played with it or your kids have. And I grew it to 72% global market share. I sold that company. My next major product that you might know about were the gel-filled wrist rests that went in front of the keyboards and the mouse pads. I invented that because I had a need. My wrist hurt when I typed. Back in the day, computers were thicker and you had to cock your wrist to type, and our wrists would get very, very tired. So that product was very successful, and I licensed it globally as well. I've done products for companies all over the world, probably more than 100 products. But the last one, the one I'm working on now, is the one I'm passionate about because, Sabrina, I contracted a deadly MRSA staph infection in the lowest part of my spine. I had final rites twice. I was hospitalized in and out of the hospital for 6 months and had to have 6 surgeries to get better. And when I finally got better, I knew there had to be a better way to kill germs than the antibiotics, which ruined my hair, my skin, my nails. Now, that all has come back somewhat, but I wanted to find something that was all natural and did not use chemicals. So I went back into the beginning of mankind, back to the Egyptians, the Romans, the Greeks. They found out if they stored their water in copper, it wouldn't get scummy. And I drink out of a copper water bottle. Now, it's shiny on the outside, so that outside is not killing germs. They put a lacquer on it to keep it from oxidizing and tarnishing. But the inside, as you can see, is tarnished. But my water is so fresh and clean and kills all the germs in my water. But not only that, I wanted to make products that would go on the things we touch all the time, like our cell phones. These are 18 times germier than a public toilet. And we're holding it up to our eyes, our nose, and our mouth, the warm, moist points where germs hop right in. Well, as you're talking, texting, and touching, as you said, Sabrina, this is killing 99.97% of germs on contact. My husband and I have not had a cold for 5 years. I don't even remember what it feels like to be sick. I'm so happy about that. So that's what we want to offer to all of your viewers and listeners. We want people to stay healthy without chemicals. This one piece of copper will kill germs 500 years from now. It lasts forever. You never need to throw it away. You know, the chemical-filled hand sanitizers, you have to buy, 5-6 bottles of those a month. And what are you doing? You're smearing chemicals into your skin. What we put on our skin is absorbed into our bodies. I don't want my grandkids or my loved ones smearing chemicals on themselves. We also make the roller, which you can put on your car keys, or I wear mine around a chain on my neck. This is called our Hope necklace. And we can rub and roll it in our hands whenever we're exposed to germs. But you also can use it in your nose like a Q-tip, because we get most of our germs through our hands and up our nose. So if we can keep our hands and our nasal passages clear of germs, we have a much, much better chance of staying healthy.
Exactly. If you think about hospital admission, we swab everybody's nose for COVID testing and MRSA. And you wanted to pre-treat those who has MRSA positive with additional antibiotics, especially before surgery. And if you think about all this, is as Marcia said, it's something that's so old and traditional that we forgot about it. And even you thinking about traditional medicine, let's say functional medicine and naturopathic and all these people, what they call alternative, has been around for thousands of years. They're not alternative. They're just not in the Western mainstream of treatment. And we have to think outside of the box of what we're so used to put ourselves into a better spot, our physical health. And I think the only thing most people probably know about copper is when you go to the bar and order a Moscow Mule, it will come into that shiny little copper cup. And then people feel like, oh, it's fancy, it looks nice. But it does have these properties for killing germs. So I would love for you to share some of your researches on.
I will. But I do want to tell your listeners, the shiny copper does not kill a single germ. And those Moscow Mule cups, 100% copper, they won't kill one germ because they've been lacquered so that they don't tarnish, but they are beautiful. So when I started doing my research, I tried to find out, in the 17 and 1800s, many people around the world used copper. We had copper water pipes. We have copper wires. Copper is a phenomenal metal, but I wanted to find out, why did we quit using copper? And I found out it was because of John D. Rockefeller. In the 1918, he was the country's first billionaire. He went from 1 billion to $1.5 billion in 2 years. His net worth was equal to 2% of our entire country's economy. So he partnered up with Andrew Carnegie. They controlled oil, steel, and then they found out that you could make petrochemicals. So they knew that if they could pay their scientists to develop drugs, they could write a prescription that could be patented. The drugs could be patented, charge very high prices, and it's like a repeat order. Once you get on a prescription, they don't let you off of it. He then hired a man named Abraham Flexner. They paid him to go around the country and give money to the medical schools to start teaching about the drugs, not the natural holistic practices that we had been learning about. And then the homeopathy, the natural medicines, they were mocked, they were demonized, and some of those practitioners were actually jailed. But he then bought the legislators so that they passed laws that said, unless your treatment was prescribed by a doctor, it would not be paid for by insurance. So sadly, many of the homeopathic natural treatments that work so beautifully went out of favor. So it's very sad, but that's the history in the background of why copper quit being used to keep us healthy, which it does beautifully. It's nature's hand sanitizer. It's nature's gift to us. But I do want to tell you, copper's not all the same. Ours is medical grade antimicrobial copper, and it does exactly what we tell you it will do. It will kill 99.97% of germs when you rub it, roll it, touch it.
Right. And if you think about every single quality out there, doesn't matter if it's a material or any other really people at the same time, right? You have various degree of good, bad, and amazingness. So we really have to look at each thing that we consume, that we use. When people are thinking about 100% of something, what does that really mean, right? What is the substance, the derivative? Whenever you pick up anything out there, from nutritional supplements, vitamins, to people who like use the essential oil, to quality of copper, it's not just something you just pick up from a store just because the store sells it. Doesn't mean the quality is there to back them up for what they can produce. And thank you for sharing that story. It definitely is amazing how things in society changes due to profitability, due to what is seen to be okay at the time, right? And then when you have a new drug, new product out there, yes, everyone wanted to learn about it to be on top of things, but what is the actually derivative? Like, how did that product came about? And then it's great to know the history and to see how could this thousands of years what we used to use it for so much and just completely was gone, and now we're wanting to reintroduce back to the mainstream society because we forgot about those knowledge, and how do we keep ourselves healthy from that perspective?
If we can expand our boundaries, we can discover new ways to deal with various problems. With Marcia's case, she was able to find a solution to her health problems from ancient methods. Copper is effective in killing germs. With this knowledge in hand, a new line of products are born to prevent us from getting sick from modern bad behaviors. Let me ask you this. How often do you actually clean your cell phone? When's the last time you actually took the case off and wiped everything down? She improved her physical health and took advantage of this rediscovery. Marcia's findings were traditional and her methods are modern. You don't have to find novel ideas to solve the gap that you are seeing in your medical practice. You can also use a traditional method or something that's not commonly practiced but effective, and build a business around that too. If you're enjoying our discussion, please share this episode with friends and colleagues who will enjoy this episode. They will appreciate you for thinking of their growth. Now, let's get back to the rest of our show.
And definitely, I checked out your website. It seems to be super simple. Like a small tag that you can put on your keychain, just because how many of us actually wipe down your key after you get into the house, right? We put those keys in our bag in the middle of the cup holder, put it on your desk, and this is touching so many different surfaces, and then the multiple different keys going to different doors, and it's never really can prevent stuff constantly. And yes, especially from our listeners who are medical professionals, we're constantly using hand sanitizer, we're washing our hand. It dries up our skin so terribly.
Oh, so red and chapped. We have our medium phone patch, which is on the cell phone case. And we have a lot of nurses who use these on their swipe badges, their ID badges that they have to swipe to get into different parts of their working environment. This comes with a 3M adhesive on the back. So they can take this adhesive off and put it right on their name badge so that they're touching it constantly. And there are some hospitals now that are starting to put copper on the IV poles, the bed rails, the computer laptops, and the stethoscopes. The things that we touch constantly that don't get cleaned properly. In fact, my husband and I were at a restaurant last Thursday, and I had to go to the ladies' room. So I excused myself and I went into the bathroom stall and I pushed the lever to lock the door. And all of a sudden I thought, nobody ever cleans those door levers. And every person that goes in that bathroom slides that door shut. So I pushed it shut. I took my roller, which I wear all the time, and I immediately started rolling my hands, because we think we clean things, and we try to, but the things that people touch so much, like the paper towel dispenser at a bathroom, that never gets cleaned. They maybe clean the sinks and the toilets, but the soap dispensers and the things that we touch need to be protected. And what COVID has taught us is we have to be in charge of keeping ourselves and our loved ones clean and germ-free. And this copper, you can put it on your kids' backpacks. It's a fun fidget for them. It's just so easy for them to stay healthy. We have 200 people in our focus group that have not had a cold or COVID since August of 2019, and they use the copper roller and the phone patch.
I definitely believe the copper roller seems to be super simple. As you mentioned, it can be on your key, on your necklace, on the backpack, and then anytime you're just rubbing it and clean your hand instead of having to find, where's my hand sanitizer, right? Like that liquid. If you don't clearly cap the cap on it, it can spill out. And when you have your phone that's flat surface, yes, some people have a case around it and some people doesn't. So how often you touch your phone? All the freaking time. And even you're going, right, you go into the bathroom, you put it in your pocket, you come out, you wash your hand, but then you need it and you touch that phone. So when you wash your hand, didn't really do much when you're immediately touching a dirty surface. And something I do want to ask you, how is that helping us to prevent germs when we do rub on the copper, or when the copper is on the phone?
The way copper kills is it has an electromagnetic surface. And when it comes in touch with the germs, it electrocutes them. So it kills them. They cannot morph. They cannot become resistant. They can't become superbugs. It pierces the cell of the nucleus and kills the germ dead. So by touching, texting, when you're using your phone case, it's touching your hand all the time while you're using your phone. So it's just a smart place to put it. And one thing we do, I want to show you this. This is a phone plate that we made for a grocery store chain. And this is our large phone patch that we did for a PR company. We actually can engrave corporate logos on these. And isn't that smart marketing? Because what does your customer touch more than their cell phone? Wouldn't it be great to have your brand, your website, and your phone number on the thing that most people touch on average 2,714 times a day? That's the average. It's just crazy how much these phones have become in our lives. But what a great place to promote your brand, but more importantly, keep you and your loved ones germ-free.
So true. We actually provide a lot of gifts for our clients, and that gift for many offices it's just those pens, and some other people will have a special gift set for your clients, right? And on their birthday, or like a new client that come into the door, you might have a little care package. And so these things that can be in place that really shows that you care about their health, especially we're in the medical field for the purpose of caring for health. And we have to really think outside the box, not just the maneuver of the actual activity that we can do for them from a therapy standpoint in the office. And we also have to talk about what else can you do in your life that keep you in optimum state and preventing you from getting sick. And in this case, it's not even prevention, you're actually treating yourself, right? You're killing these bugs right away, so it doesn't manifest into something more significant. Now, we all know our body naturally have a flora, and it's just part of our natural balance. But this is saying like our hands are always going to be touching something, and we also know is we don't want to eat, touch, and touch everything else, going into different patients' rooms and then constantly worry about and carrying whatever bug we have from our clinic back home. And many people have kids, right? All the COVID babies that my friends are popping out. I'm like, yes, that's what people don't do in person. So they're still super careful about who they have in their home.
Exactly. Well, we have seen so many people that have embraced our copper products because they do see it as all natural. And if you think about the impact that these hand sanitizer plastic bottles are having on our landfills, tens of millions are going into our landfills, and they're just going to be there for hundreds of years to decompose. And the neat thing about copper is it lasts forever. So even if you change your cell phone case, take your copper patch off and put it on something else you touch a lot, like the inside of your wallet where your credit cards and your dollar bills are. That's a very germy place. Put it by a light switch that you turn on and off frequently. You don't ever want to throw it away, because you can always find a germy place and it will last forever. So that does make a lot of sense. We have several practitioners' offices that use these as promotional giveaways. And one company, they had none of their employees take a sick day in the month of March, and they had us engrave their logo on their patch, and every employee got one as a thank you for staying healthy. And the employees liked it so much. The company called me back and said, can you engrave more? And I said, of course we can, because they had another 750 pieces they ordered to give to the family members of their employees. So I was thrilled, because we're starting. We're only been around for 3 years. We've got a huge message to get out to people about take responsibility for you and your loved ones. Do something with no chemicals, all natural, that will keep you germ-free. It's just smart. It's a smart solution to a problem we all have.
There are many ways on how you can turn your passion into profit. In Marcia's case, her focus is to use medical-grade copper as an antimicrobial solution. Hence, she crafted accessories made in copper that we can easily touch. In addition, she also engraved her business logo to these items that serve as an indirect advertisement. If you know that you are the best in a particular field, technique, or practice, you can build a brand out of it.
Exactly. And then that being said, I definitely want you to share a little bit. You have been building so many product and that has been growing these successful business. What do you think about advices that you wanted to give to some practitioners who are thinking about having their own health product lines? How can they build into something successful as they're beginning their journey?
Well, my whole career has been based on finding an affordable, practical solution for a problem. And so when I invented sidewalk chalk, my daughter was little and she didn't like the chalk from Asia was little thin blackboard pieces that were full of lead. They stained, they were dusty, they broke. They were a mess. So I was solving a problem. With the gel wrist rest, I was solving a problem. With copper, we're solving a problem. So when you're in your daily life, whatever bothers you, think about what would be a solution that I could make that could take care of the problem. Then talk to 10 or 15 of your friends. Do they have the same problem? Chances are, if it's a problem for you, it's going to be a problem for them too. Then think about, what can I make to solve the problem? Make some prototypes. I should show you sometime, Sabrina, our first copper prototypes. They're funny now, but everything starts as a handmade prototype. Then we would give them to 20 people. Try this. Do you like it? What's the good thing? What's the bad thing? And then once we decided that we had it dialed in, we found a manufacturer here in the United States to do our copper. I did not want to take it to Asia because I wanted made in the USA. And I'm so glad I did, because with the COVID issues and all the shipping issues, people who are having products made in China can't even get their products now. So that's been very good for us. And I'm very proud that this is made in the USA. On March 18th, St. Patrick's Day, we got a full EPA registration from the EPA saying that our product kills the germs we say it kills. And I'm so thrilled. I wouldn't have been able to get that with Chinese copper. So I'm thrilled that we're made in the USA. So to your listeners, find your problem, think about a sensible solution, make some prototypes, test it. And call me. I'm always happy to try to help you. I've helped many, many, many people take product from an idea to a prototype. But it's that simple. You just find a problem and think of the solution. And then when we launched Stay Well, so much has changed since I brought a product to market myself last, that e-commerce was the way we started on Amazon. You can find Stay Well Copper on Amazon.com. And that was a great testing ground. They're not easy to work with, but it's a great way for people to see your products. Because now that we've got our Amazon learning behind us, probably fourth quarter or first quarter of next year, we'll start putting some product into traditional brick and mortar. And I'm really happy you're the first one to know this, Sabrina. Just this week, we've been doing all the onboarding. Our products will now be listed on CVS.com. CVS is a national drug chain, and we're going to be on their .com. So you can find us probably in a week and a half on CVS.com.
So that's amazing. Congrats.
Time. Yeah, it's
exactly. And I think it's so true. No matter what product you're starting, some of us have courses, right? You're teaching people how to reduce the back pain or whatever that core problem you're solving is. Test out. Like share it to friends, family, anybody who you think it has this problem, and get it validated before you go make something big. Because it's not because we're healthcare professionals, just because we created people going to come to us. We really have to test out the ideas like anybody else out there. And so fortunate that we have Marcia here, who's going to offer to help you if you so choose to build that product yourself. Or maybe you already built something and then you wanted to talk to her on how to make that really scalable or get out in the mainstream, just like what she has done. And I so appreciate you being here.
To sum it up, you can do business while doing what you love. That's 2 birds in 1 stone. This is possible if you align your passion with your business adventure. That way, you don't have to spend extra time pursuing your ventures. You're making your time more valuable and productive. But how can you find ideas for your business? The answer is to go out of your comfort zone. By doing this, you might learn new techniques that you can leverage. Expand your boundaries does not only mean learning new procedures. You can also rediscover old methods which are forgotten in the past.
Now, I know for all our speakers that we can all be a lot of great things, but it's hard to be an expert in everything. And that's okay because we're human. We're constantly growing, changing, and that's the fun about being human. So I also asked Marcia to take the holistic view of herself. And then one thing she said is she actually been doing so good. And she has the family support. She has the way of business. She has been gaining her career success. And yet she still wanted to focus on her personal fitness and her own growth. So did that seem to be relatively concrete? What did you thought about when you took the assessment?
Well, I think if you don't stay physically healthy, you're going to have a very hard time bringing a product to market because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of thinking. I always tend to do some of my best problem solving at 3 a.m. So you get a little sleep deprived sometimes. So I think you do have to take good care of yourself because your health is your wealth. And don't ever, ever doubt that. When you are sick, everything falls apart. So staying healthy is key. Just number one gift you can give your loved ones and yourself is staying healthy.
Exactly. So perfectly said. And I know our listeners, if you've been listening to my show for a while, you know where I started. Just a little busy bee, keep going until I got super sick, just operating, right? And then I was like, oh, let's stop right there, right? Does that really mean anything from all the accolades that we have created, all the letters behind our name? If we're just exhausted, we're sick, we can't even enjoy our fruit of all the hard work I have put in, right? Like why grow a garden if you can't even eat it? And
Exactly.
so I so appreciate you. And I know one of the gifts Marcia giving to us is for whoever's listening to the live show or once we live on our podcast, she's actually going to give you a huge discount for all the purchases. So I'll let her talk briefly about that.
Yes, go to staywellcopper.com. Let me know you're a listener of Sabrina's, and we will be giving you a 20% discount on any product you order, and we will be giving you free shipping.
Amazing. I know I already been looking at those things adding to my shopping chart. So I am definitely getting some for myself, friends, and my family as well. So I so appreciate you being here, sharing your wealth of knowledge, keeping ourselves healthy, even though we think it's the new way to kill germs. It's actually being around for so long. So for everybody out there, don't just thinking about what's the new intervention that you can create. Think about all the things that have already been working. Yes, stay well, stay healthy, and then I can't wait to see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Odds are, if you're like me who just want to get to the bottom, find out what's going on in your private practice, then I invite you to book a complimentary diagnostic consultation call with me. You can check my availability at sabrinarumback.com/blueprint to find out a time that works for you. This is especially beneficial for you if you have an established clinic but now feel drained or unable to live up to your full potential.
She really gets the conversation. She understands. She's an incredible listener. We were talking about worthiness, and she really understands the concept of it, how it affects people in their businesses, in their clinics, in their daily life, in their relationships. So I just want to encourage you to jump on board and start listening to this woman because she has so much insight and wisdom that you don't want to miss out.
Take an opportunity to meet with and talk with Sabrina. She's just a wealth of information and powerful results. And it for myself, just to be able to reflect and see what she's created by her forms and processes is amazing. I can't emphasize enough. It's time well spent and money well invested. And so take the time, invest in yourself.
My experience is really, really unique. Everything I've learned and she's taught has been applied at different levels and portions of my life. And I feel like I can continue to grow and develop these skills in the future. So I was able to do the one-on-ones as well as the group sessions with Sabrina, and both had some really impactful things to teach me.
There were a lot of things in there. I look at the chart of the desire zone because I was taking on too many things. I was doing too many things outside of my desire zone, and that allowed me to hone things back into the direction where they should be. What was some other things? Our first call that we ever had, there was a quote that you gave me from the Dalai Lama. And these are simple things I did, but it was about gratitude. And it hit me at that time because I'd forgotten to be grateful about what has been built. Everybody around me that sees what we're doing or, sees what I'm doing here, my peers and colleagues, and they're very grateful for what I've been doing. They're like, oh, this is great. Would love to be in the position I'm in. And I forget that. And I forgot it.
Don't you agree? If you don't allow a pair of unbiased eyes to take a look, you will never know what you don't know. This is your chance to get time back and be a peak performing healthcare leader again.